I love it. And you were a better cook.
It only took years. What up, guys?
What's up?
We are back. Hey. So if you are just joining us, we are the Sweet Cherry Podcast. I am Cherry.
And I am Fox.
And yeah, we basically, touch on different topics and talk crap.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much what we do.
Give our opinion.
Mm-hmm. And we look forward to your comments and suggestions as well. So you could let us know what you'd like to see more of, or, just any topics that maybe you want to speak about that we haven't covered yet.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section. And if you want to follow us on your other streaming devices, we are on multiple podcast platforms. You can follow us on Spotify and iTunes, and that's just to name a few. I can't remember all the other ones, so just look around, people. Sweet Cherry Podcast.
We're there.
We're there. So today, are people capable of changing? Go ahead.
Yes.
You go.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so to an extent.
Yes.
Because I think there's just things that people just like, it's just built in them and they just can't change it. Like just how they are.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also things that they can change, to better themselves or better a relationship or better a friendship or better something else, that they're not, that they can change within themselves to make something better for them or for someone else, because you might be in a relationship and there's some things that aren't really clicking right. And you have to, look within yourself and change that thing or behavior about you. Sometimes it's hard.
It's very hard.
Sometimes it will be hard. But if you keep on with it, it'll pan out and you'll continue on and it'll just be the norm eventually, you learn from right and wrong or how to be nicer, maybe speak nicer to somebody, address your issues with people in a gentler manner. And just be a bit different, or look at people differently, not be so quick to judge or, things like that, where, sometimes you might have back in the day, you might have been like, oh, she looks or he looks funny, I'm not talking to them, or they look like a, loser, or, say something not nice. And it carried on with you for, until your adult years, until someone opened your eyes and was like, you don't even know them. Like, just, you haven't spoken to them. You haven't said not one word, not a hello, not a wave, not a nothing of this person. And you're over here already like not liking them.
Right.
And it might open your eyes to see that you treat people kind of shitty because you're not giving them a chance, So I think people are capable of changing, or maybe you got an impression of a person,
maybe by something other people have told you about the person,
right? Someone might have jogged their influence on you, on how they feel, and made you feel the same without even really knowing the person.
Right.
And then maybe you get to know the person and you're like, oh, hey, you know what, they aren't that bad,
right? Exactly.
And then you just change in that aspect and learn that you can't go by what everybody else says. Like, you just have to experience it for yourself. You know, it's like a movie. You can't listen to
You
everybody
can't listen to the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, you can't listen. You know, you gotta make your own opinion on the movie because maybe they didn't like it, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna like it.
Right.
You know, or like the person. Yeah. So I think people are capable of changing if it's brought to their attention. Maybe
Mhm.
some of the things that they are doing maybe
Mhm.
aren't the right things,
You may
or
not realize it.
yeah, and I think, you know, they're able to change in some ways, but something that's like kind of embedded in you, that is a bit more harder, I think,
Yes, I agree.
if you ever change it, because most of the time if it's just like embedded in you, you generally don't change.
Yeah, I agree with yeah. I agree with you. I think anyone is capable of change. I think it
Mhm.
just depends on um your willingness to change, because some things are just in you. You
Right.
know, you grew up a certain, maybe you grew up seeing certain things, you grew up a certain way, believing a certain way.
Mhm.
Your parents have a big influence on you and what they feel and what they say and how and just things how you see them interact with other people. And
Right.
sometimes those things stay with you. And you know, as you get older, you start to realize that those, you know, maybe certain things aren't right that you saw
Right.
growing up, and you know, your parents maybe, you know, didn't have um you know, that was just how they were raised, and then they're just passing it on, you know, and then you
Or
just
what they saw as they were
yeah,
growing up and they didn't think
anything of it.
of it and they thought that was the
And
norm.
that was the norm. And
Yeah.
it's, you know, that's why I never, you know, there was a lot of, I had a lot of childhood trauma, a lot. And I don't blame my mom. You know, she's no longer with us.
Mhm.
But I don't ever blame her because I know what she went through growing up and
Okay.
what she faced. I know some of the stories. And, you know, it's, especially back then, it was so different.
Different
Like,
time. Yeah.
you know, that whole speaking to someone and you know, getting your the therapist, a psychiatrist, talking to someone, that was not something that was, you know, in our family. It was not something that was encouraged. So you just had to like deal with whatever it was that you were going through growing up, you know, whatever you saw, whatever you went through.
And most of the time on your own or talking to a friend. But what do your friend know?
And then
They don't know shit either.
they went through their own crap.
Yeah.
But you know, then once you start living your life, and I'm a strong believer of things that kids see growing up, there is gonna stay with them. Cause I know there's a lot of things that I saw and felt growing up that I still have to this day,
Mhm.
that I know I shouldn't have, that I know was wrong. And it's not something I ever healed from because I didn't get the help that I needed to get. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're Spanish, and you know, Spanish parents don't really encourage, especially the back in the day parents, they don't
Yeah.
really like encourage, oh, go see a therapist or go talk to someone. They don't, they just think everybody else is crazy and you know.
You deal with your problem.
Yeah, exactly.
know,
You just got to
and-
deal with
and
it. You
just
got to be
suck it up.
tough it up, and
Yeah.
don't be a punk. Like that's how they see things, you
Tough
know.
it out.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure other cultures as well, not just, you know, not just Spanish, you know,
Yeah,
families and
yeah.
stuff. But it there's a lot of things that I, you know, saw and that I have affected me 100%
Mhm.
as an adult and
But
growing up.
do you feel like you were able to change from that?
Certain things, yes, 100%. There are things that I'm still currently working on changing because I saw for myself that how I behaved as an adult, or you know, with different things like friendships, relationships, and just, you know, my anger issues and stuff like that. Like, you know, I used to get into a lot of fights when I was growing up because as tiny as my little ass is, I was just as tiny. And I was, you know, involved in an abusive home. So I saw, you know, it was, to me, fighting was what you had to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I was so used to,
Right,
having
right.
that happen in my home. So, when I went to school and somebody pissed me off, I fought them. Like,
Mm.
whether it was a boy or
That's
girl.
so
Like,
funny because I don't see you like
I
that
know,
at
I know a
all.
lot of people don't see me like
Yeah,
that.
I don't. I
But my
don't see you.
family, like the people that really,
Mhm.
really like, they know. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's something that I'm not like that now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This
Mhm.
is me growing up. To this day, though, if I had to, I will. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm not that type of person to go and I'm not a very confrontational person. I don't like to go and try to argue with people and start fights and stuff. I'm not that person. I've never been that person. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn girl and everything. And, I grew up in the projects. Believe it or not, I am not that girl to go and try to like pick fights and try to, but, being given my situation, how I was raised and where I was raised. But um I've always been that type, like, if it went down, like it went down, and I would never back down from a fight ever in life. And that's just how I am because of things that I saw growing up. And although I'm not how I used to be, where I would just like fight anybody in school and
Right,
stuff like
right.
that, I know that it's still in me. Like if it came down to it and I was and there was a
So that part of you
confrontation,
hasn't changed.
that part of me I don't think will change.
Okay.
Like if I was in that I will not try to pick a fight or start something. But if somebody was in my face and it was to go and it was gonna go down, it's gonna go down. I don't care even if I get my ass kicked, I'm gonna go down, but I'm gonna go down fighting.
Right.
Regardless. Like that's just how I was raised. That's just what I saw growing up. That's just how I am. But
what about
I'm
like
not confrontational. I'm not gonna pick a fight.
right,
Know?
right.
But
what about as like far as viewing things like
oh yeah, totally. Like there's a lot of things that like I said, a lot of things that I saw growing up that I knew wasn't correct. And I don't blame.
but now as an adult, like you're aware that
Very aware.
What you thought when you were younger is not really.
Oh yes, I know the reason why I was an angry little girl and like getting into fights all the time in school was,
right.
Because first of all, like again, like I said, I grew up in the projects, so my school was right by the project, so all the kids from the projects went there. So I had to be tough because I was bullied. I was bullied in kindergarten by a really big chick. She was big and I was always a little skinny little thing.
Right.
So, that was my first bully in kindergarten. And she bullied me and I was so scared of her because she was really like 3 times my size. And I was very scared of her and I never stood up to her. But that is what made me stronger. After that, nobody messed with me. I don't know. I forgot what happened. Like she never hit me. It was more like she would pick on me and like scare me.
Oh, okay.
And she actually didn't fight me. So it was more like she would just pick on me. But after that incident, it made me tougher. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just throughout the rest of my school years, like I was just ready to fight anybody who wanted to fight me. And I did. I fought anyone. I mean, I've gotten beat up. I've kicked ass. It's been a mixture of everything. You know what I mean? I've stepped up to girls that were fucking twice my size after that. After I got bullied from a really big chick at the time. So, but basically, like, I know where that stemmed from, though. You know what I mean? And like I said, I've never been confrontational. I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to go and pick a fight with you. Like, I'm just not, that's just not me. But I will fight if I have to.
But overall, you've changed as an adult. Like,
but in other aspects, yeah.
Okay.
In other aspects, in terms of like things that I know about myself that I know are not correct, things that I've done in past friendships that I know wasn't right.
Right.
And, a lot of it is things that I saw like, kind of growing up in a way. I don't want to blame everything on how I was raised.
Right.
I don't want to just blame everything on that. But there were a lot of things that I saw growing up. And, there's a lot of friendships that I let go in the past. I just whatever, like, I'm moving on with my life. Like, and I would be like really close to somebody. And then just like, let's just say something happens, life event, like, okay, she moves away or I move away. And then like, that was it. You know, like I
Right.
would just part ways and not even keep in contact, and then
Right.
think about them throughout the years, but not really like, things like that. Like there was just a lot of things that I basically just saw growing up, and I definitely think it affected me a lot in my friendships, in my relationships. It affected me very much, and I regret a lot of those things that I've done in my past, and I'm currently trying to be a better person because of the things I've done in my past, like just basically not, giving a lot of important people that are no longer my friend,
Mhm.
that were a big part of my life, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, I can't even believe I didn't even like really try to like keep them with
Right.
me. And I was so used to having that type of relationship with my friends because I wasn't allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to do
Mm.
things. So if I didn't go to school with them anymore, and let's say we graduated and we could have been the best of friends, and we graduated and went to separate schools, I never saw them again. I know
Mm.
I was used to being detached
Okay. I get it.
because like,
Mhm.
that was the life I lived. So I was very, that stayed with me
Right.
because I wasn't allowed out and being able to like, keep in contact with friends that I lost contact with or
Mhm.
graduated, we're going to different schools. I wasn't allowed to like keep that contact with them because we weren't allowed to hang out. So I got used to myself growing up as like detaching myself from people
Mm.
and just letting them go. And yes, I would think about them.
Mhm.
Yes, of course, I would think about them throughout the years. And I would have my silent moments where I would be crying and upset because they
Right.
weren't in my life anymore, of
Right.
course. But I just learned to and I lived my life. I lost a lot of good friends I've had in
Mhm.
my life that are now like not here anymore. And I'm just like, I know that was because of how I was raised,
Mm.
because I was so used to, I wasn't allowed out. So basically, if school ended and they're not going to the same school as you in September, like that's it. You're never going to see them again.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I grew up in a very strict home, and I saw a lot of things that probably.
So now, like now that you're older and you're
Mhm.
aware of it, do you try to?
Yes.
If you have like a good
I'm
friend or
trying.
something, you try
Yes.
to like hold on to
I'm
them,
trying. Yes.
or more acceptable or forgiving to
Yes.
other things that
Mhm.
that
I'm
you
trying
weren't in the past.
100%, 100%, because I got to an age where I'm just like, yeah, like that stuff. I was so used to letting people go in my life.
Mhm.
And I really think that that's stuff that I went through as a child,
Okay.
things that I saw as a child. And I was so used to letting people go. And I've gotten to a point in my life where it's affecting me now.
Mm.
It didn't affect me before, and it is affecting me now.
Are you like scared that if you don't change in that way, like you'll be lonely?
Yes, that's exactly how I've felt, and that's the
Okay.
reason why I've trying to not make those same mistakes, and not just, just things that you did maybe just as a friend, like that maybe that wasn't right, or you should have been more this way, or you should have acted more this way,
Mhm.
because you do really care. It wasn't like you
Right,
didn't
right.
care. It was just what you was just so used to being. It's hard to explain. It's kind of hard to
I get it. I
explain,
get it.
like it's just so used it's
Well,
just
it's
what you're
what you're
used
fed,
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know like certain things my parents didn't really make a big deal, like like friends, like un peso en el bolsillo, which just
Right.
translates to it's a friend is $1 in your pocket.
Right.
Basically,
And
like
I
that was a big daddy saying right there.
yeah. Oh, and you know what? For me, my parents were opposite. My mom would be the saying of
Oh, like my
a
like
dollar, yeah.
okay.
And my dad always tried to hold on to friendships as much as possible.
Mhm.
And I would have times had ended friendships, or we stopped talking, and he would be like, "Oh, you're stupid and this is over nonsense." And like
I bumped into your dad one day. He had a lot to say
Yeah.
about that.
and then
He's like, "What is wrong with you girls?"
Yeah. And so he was very much like that. And my mom never really held on to friends.
See, that's how it was for me.
And she was fine with that. Like if she made friends, work friends, and they were friends and everything and cool, they could have hung out, went out for drinks after work and whatever. But if they left work and they didn't talk again, like she was fine with it. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And my father was the opposite. Like if he would try to search people up or find people from his past and
really
keep old friendships for as long as possible, or occasionally try to meet up with people, you know, with friends, family, you know.
Yeah.
And things like that. Yeah. So he was very much like that. So he always tried to kind of instill that in me.
You.
And my mom was like,
you'll make new friends.
You'll make new friends, or you know, like
she wasn't that good of a friend if she was happens.
Yeah, or you know, like, it's not a big deal. You know, you'll find somebody new, or if they weren't a good friend to begin with, or you know, life isn't all about friends.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, type thing. So
yes.
So she's definitely more like that, where my father was the more like
keep your friends.
Let's
go searching people.
Yeah. and then there was a point in my life where, because I used to try to be the same, you know, as my dad, like hold on to friendships and stuff like that. But then there was a time in my life where I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like,
right. And then
I'm not going to deal with this. Like, first of all, I got my own life going on right now.
You got your family.
I got my family. Exactly. I got this, that, and the other.
Then you start to think like that.
I don't have time to be thinking of nonsense.
It happens,
you know, like it's just stupid. If they don't want to talk to me, fuck them.
Right.
You know, if they want to talk to me one day, then they talk to me one day. You know, like I didn't care. I didn't care either way. Would I have preferred to not have stopped talking to them from the beginning?
Right.
Of course, I would have.
Right.
You know, I if I have like a long-term friendship with somebody, I always, you know, want to keep that, because I share things with them, you know, memories and past experiences, and you know, they may have played a big role of my youth, or you know,
right.
And to let that go, you know, it sucks, you know, and so I would try, you know, and then I had gotten to a point where I was like, whatever, you know,
fuck it.
Yeah. If they talk to me, they talk to me. If they don't,
see, I was the opposite. I was more like that when I was younger. Like, fuck it. Now, as I'm older, I'm like,
yeah, and
like,
and
okay.
I think now I still can say that I'm kind of in the, if they talk to me, they talk to me kind of stage. But I try to, I guess, make it where there's no reason for us not to not talk,
right,
anymore.
Is it really
like
that serious for us not to speak anymore?
Exactly. And even the times that we did stop talking, like, was it that serious for us to not be talking anyway, or were we just being stupid, you know,
just being stubborn? Yeah,
right. So now that's kind of where I am right now in my life. Like, if you want to leave, go. I'm not gonna chase you.
So I feel like you. Like, I feel both. I feel like I got to a point where when I was younger, I was more like nonchalant about it. All right, you know, we had good times. I'll think about you throughout the years. Bye.
Yeah,
you know, which is horrible of me to have been that way. Now I do get more. I feel like I do value the meaning of friendship more than I did when I was younger.
Okay.
Because I went through a lot of stages in my life and I moved around a lot, and you know, there was a lot of things, but and I'm more mature now, so I do value it more. But I'm also I'm on the fence, because I'm also at that, like, if you want to go, just go. I have what I need, which is my family, and you know, but you know, I do want to keep my friendships.
Exactly.
But I feel the same way. I'm a Gemini, so I have a very double side to everything.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I get it.
I just get over it,
because I have feelings like that too.
I don't want to have to deal with the
bullshit.
Yeah, like I'm already at a point in my life where I just like peace and tranquility.
Yes,
We're gonna be
yes,
friends. We're gonna be friends,
yes.
and that's
Let's have fun. Let's be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
have a peaceful, normal life
right,
and not
right,
bullshit. Right.
and you know, you take part. And if you're married and I'm married, and now we're gonna bring different memories together because you have a family, I have a family,
Bring
so
our families together.
right, your
Yeah.
memories are gonna be different. Situations are gonna be
Yeah.
different.
Right. It's not the same, you know.
So you know, and of course, everybody change. I don't think it's yes. There are things that people could change, or do change throughout life, but I believe people change regardless, throughout life.
Yeah, because you're
With
gonna grow up
experience,
and
with
experiences in
all
life.
that. So
Yeah.
to me, it's like yes, people do change. Sometimes they change
I think
not in the best way,
yeah.
or they follow, you know, the side that wasn't the best side to be
Favorable.
followed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you kind of want them to change back to the side that was on the right path.
Yeah.
Um and but I think overall people do change as they get older, and
Yeah.
as life experience
Yes.
hits them.
Absolutely. Definitely. They definitely do. I feel like if there's something, because sometimes, you know, there could be something about yourself that you don't like. Like it could be like, you know,
Mm.
whatever, anything about something that you know that is not a good trait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And nobody, it
Or
doesn't
sometimes
have
you
to-
don't even know that it's not
it's
a good
happening,
trait.
or like, you don't realize it's happening until
Yeah.
somebody points it
Points it
out, or
out.
until, and then you're just like, oh shit, like I really do that.
Mhm.
They're right. And then you start to think, and you're just like, I didn't mean it in that negative way,
Right.
but it does come across that way. And then
You have to be more aware of
it,
of-
and you just might not even know that you're doing it. It
Mhm.
might just be just something natural. Maybe it's something that's just part of your character.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're trying to like mean it in a negative way or anything like
Right.
that. But it's when
But
you
it's something that needs to be changed,
right,
about
because
you.
you want to change it about yourself, not because you're not doing it for your relationship, you're not doing it for your kids, you're not doing it for friendship, you're not
Right.
doing it for nobody but yourself. That's when I feel like it can happen. You can. But
I think there are
you gotta be
times
careful.
I think there are times that you can change for certain things.
You can change,
Like,
of course, you can
know,
change for somebody else, but at the end of the
if it's
day,
for someone that you really love, or your kid, like, you
Yeah,
know, to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
better person or
but
parent.
you have to
or-
first do it for yourself, because then
Oh,
it's
well,
not. That's
if you
what I
don't-
meant by that.
Right,
Like,
right.
you just gotta do it first for yourself, because you can't change for somebody else. It does. You gotta want to change because you feel like, okay, like this is a problem. I don't like it. I don't like this about myself. This is wrong. Like I shouldn't be this way anymore. It's wrong in so many levels. I'm gonna change this for myself, and then it's gonna be better for my friendships and for my relationships, my kids.
Right.
You know.
And you know, you have it's well, any change that you do, you have
gotta
to
do it for yourself first. Yeah.
because it's just like
You can't do it for somebody else.
it's just like a drug
specifically.
addict.
Yeah.
Like they have to want to be off of drugs themselves. You know, if they don't want to be off of drugs, they're never gonna fully get off.
No.
They might just do it for the moment because they're being hounded by family and this, that, and the other. But eventually, they'll always go back.
Yep.
And until they feel that they've had enough, then that's when it's actually gonna work.
Change.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think anybody's capable of change. I think if you really don't like something about yourself that you know that it's something that's not, you know, that you need to change for whatever reason, whether it was something you saw growing up that stayed with you, because I do believe what a kid sees growing up does stay with them. It doesn't always it may affect them in a very negative way. It may not affect them in a very negative way, but you know, everybody's different. So certain things that I saw personally growing up has affected me as growing up throughout my life as an adult, as a grown woman. And to this day, I still feel like affect me. And I'm trying to change those things and work on them myself, because at the end of the day, it's self-healing. You know, I didn't go see a therapist or a psychiatrist.
But you were aware enough to know that, you know, some people aren't aware and they need it to be brought to their attention.
Right. Some people are very like, they don't want to see the negativity thrown
that
at
other
them.
people see. And there are people that don't want to hear what
nobody wants to hear about. Nobody wants
that
to
they're
hear
doing
about
wrong,
negative shit.
or you know.
Nobody wants
But
to hear
sometimes
that.
you have to hear it.
But you do.
You know, you have to hear it sometimes,
Yeah.
because it's something that you need to be
to
aware
work on,
of and
because
work on.
if
Right.
you don't work on it, it's always this is what it's going to be for you all the time. It's not going to change at the end of the day. And that's just what, like, I realize my faults, what I messed up on, even in all my relationships, my friendships, my, you know, I've had enough time to sit back and think about it. And I know the things that I have been working on, the things that I've already worked on, and the things that I need to work on. You know, like, I'm aware of them. I'm not blinded by them. We're all a work in progress. None of us are perfect. All 100%. Of us are, you know, some might be a little bit more of a work in progress than others, but as long as you're trying to make yourself to be better, then that's a step. Then, you know,
absolutely. If you're making the effort and taking the time, then you know you're in the right direction, and it's capable. It can happen. You can be better. You can be a better person, be a better friend, a better partner, a better parent, a better everything. You know,
better just person in life.
Yeah,
period.
You can be a better coworker. You can be just anything could be better. You know.
You just have to first realize your actions
where
your faults are and work on them. And it is definitely possible. There's a lot of things that are still in you because it's part of your person. So it's hard for you to break out of certain things, because I've tried to break out of certain things that I realized that I'm just like, oh my God.
And you also need to be
but you need to work
acceptable of some constructive criticism. You know, when someone brings things to your...
I'm all about the way people say things.
Right.
It's just, it's not what you say, it's how
it's true. It's true. Because someone can be telling you, bro, you're a shitty person.
And someone, right.
And they can say it that way. Like,
and then here's another person saying, well, I think you really need to work on your character, because that's almost like, you know, it's just how you say it.
Right.
You know, like, because you're not doing good things or whatever.
And the
it
bad
just
thing
depends on how you say it.
For me as a person, the bad thing is that I'm the, bro, you're a shitty person type of person.
Yes, well, you're a fire sign, girl.
So like I just say it as how it is, and it just comes out, and it might sound, you know, messed up and shitty, or I may not sound like I'm being a good friend or partner or parent or whatever you want to call me.
The way you say stuff counts.
But the truth of the matter is, to me, I'm gonna be like, oh, you want me to put flowers around it and say, oh, you really need to work on your personality. It's not really nice for you to be saying that. No, I mean, as a person, I just can't. I've tried. And I may start off that way,
and then it's like,
and then after a
bro,
while,
you just suck.
Yes,
what you really want to say.
And then after a while, when you've already said something a few times in the nicest way that you can say it, as a person, and it's still not getting it, like, all right, so let me tell you the real way. Let me break it down for you. Like, you're a shitty person, okay? Because if you did this and this and this and this and this and this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I then I come out like that. I find it hard to kind of hold back in me saying it in just
an aggressive way.
Yeah. And you know, my partner has told me, like, nah, don't say that. Like, don't say that. That's not. And then like I'll try to reword it or something, you know, like if I'm gonna say something or whatever, and I'll try to reword it in a nicer way and stuff. And
what you really want to say is,
you suck.
Get your shit together.
And it's not that I'm trying to be a bad friend or trying to hurt your feelings.
It's just who you are. It's your character.
It's how you I am.
And that's it. You're a fire sign. I already said
but
that.
But at the end of the day,
Fuego.
At the end of the day, it's always your best interest, and the point of it is your best interest. But maybe I'm not going about saying it the right way.
But
but
That's important. Though,
that's what I'm
girl.
looking for. Like, I want you to be aware and open your eyes of the situation and
But
and stuff
I
like
feel
that.
like you should say it first in a nice way,
In a nice
or at
way.
least try your hardest.
I do try. I do try
to say it in a nice way.
And then sometimes I just forget my trying and resort back to my old ways.
You suck.
Like, what are you, stupid? Open your freaking eyes.
What is wrong with you?
And then after a while, like when it's brought to my attention or
Then
something,
you're like, "Oh,
I'm
crap."
like, damn, I shouldn't have said it like that. Like, I didn't mean for it to come out like that. But they got the point,
Right?
sometimes, because sometimes no. Like, they just, I've had friends be like, I've had friends that'll be like, that are like, fuck this bitch. Like, I ain't listening to what. She thinks she know it all, or this, that, and the other.
Well,
You know, she don't know shit. I ain't telling this bitch shit. Fuck her. You know.
That was the
But
jab,
then-
guys.
But then at the end of the day, like, but if I would have said it in a nicer way or went about it in a different way, you would
Yeah.
have understood maybe where I was trying to come, where I was coming from, you know. But my mouth didn't let me just spit it out nicely.
We gotta talk about this incident.
Like, you know, and then the frustration sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, of whatever. But it is always like, I'm aware now being older
Right.
and having gone through experiences,
Mhm.
I'm more aware of that I can be aggressive, or that I can say things that may seem like out of mouth, out of pocket,
right.
you know, and I don't mean to be
It's
that
just your
way.
character.
It's just,
Your character.
I'm just telling you basically
How
how
you
it
feel.
is, and
Right.
and
You're not sugarcoating it.
Right.
Where, like, you know, like for me, for example, not that I'm sugarcoating, but I'll probably, you know, be a little bit more. It depends. It depends on the situation. Also, like, depends on how long you've been talking about it. Like, you know, you can get frustrated.
Yeah.
And that goes for anyone. You
Mhm.
can get frustrated with
Yeah.
the way, this shit again. And then, you know, then you come across a certain way. It depends on all of that shit.
And
You know,
you
at
know,
the
there
end
are
of the
times that
day.
you may start off with the sugar coat,
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, this bitch
know
don't
what?
get it.
And
So,
it's just
you know,
solid,
I'm about to
like,
cocotazos left and right.
bro,
So,
you're stupid.
like,
How many times I gotta fucking tell you? It's just stupid. Stop it. Okay, they're not good. You're not good. You need to just stop it.
you both suck.
You just both suck. Stop it. But you know, and then sometimes, you know, you can offend somebody,
Yes,
even though you don't mean to
Absolutely.
offend
'Cause,
them. You know,
you know, some people are sensitive, or there's some people that are very like very tough, but
And
they
they wanna come
dish
back
it,
at
but they
you.
can't take it.
yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, of course.
Where they're just so used to being the one to dish it out, and when somebody comes back at them, they're like taken back. I've experienced that too.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
so
true. Most people
Are
like to
like
dish
that.
it out and they
And
don't
can't
want to
take
hear it
it.
back. You know,
I know that
And
happens.
you got to be able to take what you give.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, you know, you can't expect that because this person's not this certain way. You can keep on saying however you eventually they're gonna get tired of your shit,
Yeah,
and they're gonna tell you how it is, and you're not gonna like it. And you know what? That's too bad because you've been dishing it to them for so long.
But I think where the miscommunication comes in is when you're getting offended and not talking about.
Oh yeah, because
you
when you
know,
get a
'cause
lot of people shut down when they're angry.
Once you get offended or not
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to hear what they're trying to say or whatever, even though what they're trying to say may be good,
But people shut
but
down
just
when they
the
get
way
offended.
that they're saying it.
Yes,
right?
I'm one of those. I immediately shut down.
Mm.
Or like those are fighting words for me. Like I'm not gonna speak because things
Yeah,
gonna get bad after
I know.
that. You know?
I know. But right, and then so the miscommunication is like
It's not good
We
after
don't
that.
you don't sit down and actually
see each other
talk
in the middle.
and talk and put everything in the middle. Not get into an argument or confrontation about it, but
Let's talk about it.
So you can understand what this person is feeling and what they're trying to open your eyes to, or what you're feeling, and have that person open their eyes to pay attention to how you're feeling and how it's affecting you at the same time, because it's not just about maybe hearing the good thing or what you need to hear. It's also about the person taking your feelings into consideration at the same time. So you need to sit down and be able to, maybe you do say something fucked up and then you guys get into a dispute or whatever, and then you stop talking, but let it fizzle down and then try to communicate again and try to talk it out and express what you're feeling and allow them to express what they were feeling, and try to come to, you know, your understandings of each other and pick up where you left off. Because at the end of the day, maybe the person was just thinking that they were doing something for the better good of you, you know, and they didn't see it that way because of the way how aggressive you came out, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe they said something that was fucked up because they were mad at you at the moment, but in actuality they don't really feel that way, but you just got them so boiled up, and they said something that wasn't nice and that they should have not have said, and of course they're probably kicking themselves in the butt, you know. But again, that's something that you should, you know, talk about.
You have to be able to communicate, and a lot of people shut down when they're mad.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah, they do.
You're not one of those.
No, I am not. I don't.
She's never been one of those guys.
I can keep talking. I can talk it out.
This is a 20+ year friendship. Yeah. She's never been one of those.
I can talk it out if the person wants to talk it out. I can definitely talk it out, and then once we talk it out, if we feel better about it, I go carry on with my friendship as nothing happened. Of course, you know, like that's how I am. If they feel like maybe what I said or what I did was too much, and they don't want to, you know, feel like they can trust my friendship, or they don't feel the same that they did before with me, and they express that to me, you know, I of course 100% can understand that, because maybe I did take it too far. Maybe I didn't notice in that moment that I was taking it too far, but once it's brought to my attention, I can appreciate it, and I can check myself. For other times, maybe not with the same person, maybe with somebody else.
Sometimes friendships end, and you realize. I'm sorry to cut you off. No. You realize what you did wrong, your part of what you did wrong in the friendship, because nobody's perfect. And everybody does their shit. Not. But when you realize what you did wrong, and you know, that's when you correct yourself and make yourself better, and realize that, you know what, maybe this friendship may not ever rekindle again, and that's okay, and it sucks, but that's life. But you know what, for my friendships moving forward, or for the existing ones that I do have,
you know, what to look for and what to be more aware.
And I'm going to do better so that I won't mess up and do what I did in my previous.
Yeah. And that's part of the change. You know, that's part of the change.
It's a journey.
If you want to change. And, you know, people live long lives, 70, 80 years. There's going to be plenty of different changes within your lifetime that are going to happen.
Exactly.
You know,
you're going to mature some more.
Yeah. And things that
by the time we're 70, we ain't going to give a shit about nobody. We're not going to care about nothing.
I don't care.
I just want to be tanning on an island where my saggy, wrinkly boobs.
Yes,
shit all out.
Just leave me alone.
That's it.
But yeah, I think people are definitely capable of changing. They are definitely, you know, as long as they want to change and it's brought to their attention, because sometimes they don't realize what they're doing.
A lot of times,
and you know. It's just a matter of going about it a certain way, and you know, taking everybody's feelings and stuff into consideration. But I think people are definitely capable of changing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, like, you know, you might have been more jealous in a relationship when you were younger.
Yes.
And then you realize,
Oh, yeah.
I was so stupid.
I
Like,
know.
this is
I don't
so
do a lot of
dumb.
the
Like,
crazy ass shit that I used to do when I was
like I really was jealous over this.
like dumb
so
shit. I
stupid.
know. I was the same way. You just grow up. It's just a
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
matter of growing up. You grow up, and that's it. Sometimes it takes people longer than others to grow up, but eventually you grow up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you're just like, damn, like
some people.
some people, not all.
Some people don't grow up and
Yeah.
they're just stuck in that
That's
mindset,
true.
and nothing is gonna change their freaking mind
Yeah.
like at all. You know?
Exactly.
They're just stubborn like that.
Yeah. And then sometimes you just realize, like, hey, like, if you really sit back and think about it, like, I've messed up too. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't just them. I
Mhm.
messed up too. Like, let's think about that. But you know,
Yep.
some people are who they are, and that's just not gonna change.
But people are definitely
Capable.
of
Absolutely.
changing if they work.
If you really want to,
if you want to
absolutely.
and you work on it, you
But it's
can.
hard. Some things are hard.
Some things are hard.
Some
Some
things
things are
will be
harder
hard.
than other.
Yeah.
But it can happen.
Absolutely, guys.
Alrighty, guys. So that is it for this episode. Let us know if you feel the same way, or if you have been the one that changed or walked away from someone that wasn't capable to change in a way that you needed them to. Let us know your experiences.
Yes.
And that is it for this show. Again, if you guys want to follow us on our regular streaming devices, you can find us on Spotify and iTunes, just to name a few. And just search up Sweet Cherry Podcast. And
That's us.
you can find us. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Later.